Hello there, my name is Bob Artis. I'm going to try and make a quick guide for bookmarks in a large wormhole corporation. Um, my corporation recently has had a lot of trouble making the bookmarks the correct labeling, or having them backwards, or not marking when a hole is end of life, those kind of things. So I wanted to see if I could make a video I could just link to people and kind of like be like, here, this is how you do it without having to go through the explanation every single time. I'm not exactly the best scanner out there. Uh, all my skills are only like level 3, and I might be doing one thing not exactly how everyone else would like it to be, but I have it down pretty well, and I wanted to see if I could make it easy for other people. Anyway, I'm just a random high-sec system right now, and I wanted to do it in a random chain, like a freshly scanned chain. That way I could do it from the very start. So we're just going to assume this high-sec system is your home, and this right here is going to be your static. We're just going to also assume there's no other wormholes in home right now, so this is the only one you got to worry about. This wormhole is a C2. You can tell because of this, and also this is a trick. If you look inside the wormhole, the very center right here, you can tell what it is just by the color. This has a very bluish color, so it's going to be a C2. C1s are similar. They have like a green, more green in it than blue. C3s are white. C4s are orange with a little bit of green. C5s are orange. C6s are red. You can also tell if you have a high-sec hole where it goes by the color of the background too. When we get in, you'll see that the hole will have a lot of yellow in it because we're in a Mars space. Anyway, the very first thing you want to do when you land on the wormhole is bookmark it. We always do just home to static. And I'm going to be bookmarking in personal locations because I don't want to cloud up my corporation's bookmarks right now. So you just do that. H to S. So whenever someone needs to warp on it, they got it right there. Also, whenever you do save a wormhole, you want to make sure you save the wormhole itself, not the sig for it, because this is always going to be a few kilometers off, and if you're in a really slow ship and you land too far from entering the wormhole, it could get you killed. Alright, now that we have that done, let's hop on in. First thing you want to do is descan. Nothing, so that's good. A neat trick for getting away from the wormhole and cloaking as fast as you can is just to hit orbit at whatever range you want, and as soon as you start moving, cloak. If you're too far away from it too, which I'm not, I'm more than 2,000 meters, you can hit your prop mod before you cloak, and that'll get you away. So you can activate the cloak very fast. So just go ahead and do that. There. Now, if anyone was spamming descan, they could have seen me, but it's not going to happen very often. You also want to make sure you bookmark the way back so you don't get stuck, and yeah, that would suck. For anyone who doesn't have scanner probes, I mean, you could just scan your way back out. So now that we're in static, S to H, just S to H for home. There you go. Before you do anything, you want to see what's going on in the system. Your descan range is now going to be exactly 14.3 AU as the maximum, so it makes it nice and easy to tell. It's not some random number. And you want to make sure that everything you have is on descan. See, outer planet is not on descan, so we're going to warp there real quick.
Warp drive active.
Nothing. This is a completely empty system, so that'll make this nice and easy. when you do D-scan, you want to make sure it's set up right. Things to look out for are towers, force fields, wrecks, other ships, disruption bubbles, those kind of things. Anything that you immediately want to know about. If you see wrecks, for example, then you know to tell your friends, like, hey, we might have a gank in here. Also, a trick for figuring out who the owners of a system are is just to go to their POCOs real quick and see who owns them. That's if you can't find a tower and you want to just do it immediately. You can just go and see that like right here from the menu. Huh, Interbus. No one's even came into the system for a while then. Alright, so the system is completely clear. We're safe. No one's going to see our probes when you drop them, so drop your probes. And we can get the scanning. Alright, I already have the systems right here on Siggy. So if you have other people scan with you, what you can do is just click your menu right here, hit Control A, that selects everything, and Control C. And when you click the system, you can click Mass Sig Reader and Control V, and it'll paste everything. That way, if you have friends scanning with you, you can like work it out one by one, filling in exactly what kind of site it is, and it makes it really easy if you have multiple scanners. If there's no one else scanning with you, though, I find it a lot more easy just to not bother with these until you have the whole system scan out, so you don't have to go in, edit every single one. Also, since this is our static, we're going to want to rename it to static, and then the system's J number. I'm not going to bother renaming this, but this would just be your home system, whatever that is, whatever you have your name for your system as. So now it says static and then the J number. Scanning might take a little while, but at this point, if you have people with you, what you can do is scan out, and as soon as you find a wormhole, you can warp to it, and then have someone dive in for you, and then they start the scanning by themselves. Or, if you're by yourself, you want to do a full system scan before you do anything really. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do that, because that could take a while, and I'll be right back. Alright, I am back with a full system scan. The only things you really are required to scan out fully is wormholes, because you want to see who can come in and where you can go out. When it comes to relic and gas sites and anything else you find, I would suggest scanning them until you just find them and then leave it be. So I just copied everything, and now I can mass add it to Siggy. And everything shows up with the correct type of site, and if you scan it out far enough, the type of site too. If your friends really want to find out what a site is, they can be like, oh, okay, well, I know HFY is a relic, so I'm going to scan that one out. And they don't have to waste time on other signatures. Okay, so what we have here is 4 wormholes. One is going to be the entrance. The other 2 are going to be statics. You can tell that if you have Siggy or your other wormhole mappers by the information being displayed right here. And then one of them is going to be a K162. Comes from somewhere else, just like the wormhole we came in through, which would be our home. What you're going to want to do is save every single one of these and not warp to them yet. This is for if you're by yourself, because as soon as you warp to those wormholes, you're going to pop it on the other end, and you have no idea what they could be doing on the other end. I could warp to our C5 that is definitely going to be in one of these wormholes, and they could be doing a site on the other side, and I want to know immediately if they're doing that site so that we can, go in there and shoot them. If I'm like, I just want to bookmark them real quick, warp to every single one of the wormholes, bookmark them, and then come back to the C5 after that, the wormhole would already have popped on the other side, and then they could have had time to see, oh, there's a new signature, guys. Let's scan it down. Everyone calm down. We don't know what it's gonna be, and you could be too late by the time that happens. So this one right here, WFY, I scanned it first because I knew it was our entrance, and I'm not going to bother saving that. We already have it saved. This one, I'm just going to save it as RFY. This one is going to be saved as QFY. And this one I'm not going to save because I'm going to be warping to that right now, and I can just get the wormhole when I warp there. So since the only one we know is this, I'm going to go ahead and enter that in right now. It's a K162 from HiSec. It would be a K162 from wherever you're at. If you are from, I don't know, a C3, then you would put K162 from C3 in there. Did you just hear that? Yeah, that's wormhole closed behind me. That would never happen if if you just popped it, like you came and popped it and were immediately scanned it. That would never happen, but this is just a random wormhole I found from HiSec. Now it's gone. Just my luck. I probably should have looked at the wormhole to see if it was end of life. It doesn't matter now, though. I was planning on finding my way out through somewhere else anyway to give an example of how to find our route out. Well, so I don't need this anymore. I can just delete it. So now we have the two statics and then one K162 in this wormhole, and we're going to be warping to HQO first. So go ahead, warp. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Warp drive active.
Just going to leave this bookmark, though, because the wormhole is supposed to be there right now. And it's a D382. So it's not a K162. It is a wandering hole. Don't see those very often. Alright, anyway, this is a D382, meaning it's going to go to a C2. So we have a C2, a C5, and a nullsec connection in here. And I'm just going to name it as S2C2A. It's the very first C2 in the chain, so C2 and then A, because first letter of the alphabet. Alright, so since this isn't a K162, you definitely want to head through right now. And make sure you bookmark it, of course. Static to C2A. And look, you can click on this, the Show Info tab of Wormhole, and you can tell whether or not it's end of life or not. This right here. If it's decaying 24 hours, and if it says reaching the end of its life, that's when it's end of life and could close behind you, like the one just did to me. Alright, so now we have these two saved right here. We can come back to these later when we want to pop them and die through, but since we're going to the C2 first, we'll go ahead in and scan that one out too. And there is a shit ton of stuff on DScan. This could get interesting. Save this real quick. C2A back to static, just like that. This is why you want to come through a wormhole as soon as you see it. this just popped up on their end, and I don't see any scanner probes out, but they could have started scanning it by now. All right, on D-scan there is 2 control towers. Everything except for the outer planet is on D-scan right here. I'm gonna go ahead and warp out here just to see if there's anything else.
Warp drive active.
Right. Also on Siggy now. Gonna get a new wormhole. You want to go ahead and name that C2A. And then the J number 132052. Alright, so I haven't found any passes yet, but like I said, you can go to the Pocos and see exactly who owns it. Nacho Alliance. Never heard of them. Anything on D-scan out here? Yes, a tower, but it has no force field, so it's a dead stick. Let's see if we can find some of those ships. A lot of them could be just, sitting around and not manned at all, but I have no idea how many that is, so I want to find out. The easiest way I find to do that is to warp to the sun, so you're at the very center of the system. And then adjust your D-scan range. So let's do 1 AU. Everything's still in D-scan. That makes it nice and easy. Look, this is the only planet with a moon within 1 AU. So I know if I warp to that planet at 100, I'll find everything on D-scan. Aw, a ping. It's not like I could go even if I wanted to. My exit closed out behind me. Let's see. Are any of these ships manned? I'm gonna assume not. This is just silly on their part. No SMA. Well, it's a bunch of, I want to say, Japanese characters. Yeah. Alright, so since this is the only pass, well, actually isn't the only pass. I know there was another one on D-scan earlier. Yeah. So I need to find that one and see if there's anything going on in that pass. But this one is a-okay. No one's logged in. It's just a bunch of empty ships hanging out. Oh. Well, there's another moon right here. How much you want to bet it's right there?
Warp drive active.
another tower, and the ship is unmanned. So that's both the towers with force fields online and all the ships. Nothing has anyone in it. So that means the system is now clear. So let's find a spot to drop probes and we can get to scanning.
Warp drive active.
Uncloak, drop probes. Alright, and let's go back to Siggy real quick. Before we start, go to your stack. I already did that. Alright then, I guess that's everything. Look, that's why I love Siggy. My corporation was in here 148 days ago and it's the same alliance, so they've been here for a while. Oh yeah, and also this, a high sec static and a C4 static. So out of all these signatures right here, I know two of them are going to be wormholes that lead out, and another one's going to be wormhole that leads in. So at least half of these are going to be wormholes. Well, I'm actually going to skip scanning this part. What you want to do now is, since you have this whole system safe to drop probes, if you drop probes, scan everything, find out these two wormholes, and save those. So I should have let's just say PJA and RJA are both these wormholes. So I'd have both of them saved like before, and then I could warp to one of them and do exactly what I did in the static. But I don't want to do that quite yet.
Warp drive active.
I'm going to go back and then show you how to just quickly switch over to a new wormhole in static. So let's say I've had this system all scanned out, and I don't want to go any further. You'll have times when you don't even find any wormholes in here. Your entrance could be the static, and that's it. But there is a high sec and a C4 to scan down. So heading back. And now we're going to warp. The reason why you want to save them like this is because I have nothing here anymore. I can't scan anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to RFY now.
Warp drive active.
And this is also why you don't save directly from the bookmarks. I landed a little over 5,000. I'm not even in jump range for this wormhole. So I'm going to delete RFY and save it as this new wormhole, which is the nullsec. So now we have static 2 0.0a. Also check to see if it's, nope, not end of life. Let's go ahead and dive through there to see what it is. Fountain. Nice thing about nullsec is you have local. So I already know. I don't have to descan anything. I'm the only person in here. 0.0a back to static, just like that. There is 2 signatures in here. So one of them is going to be this wormhole, another one's going to be something else. It could be another wormhole, which is nice for routes, or it could be a combat site. They're pretty common out here in nullsec. So I'm just going to go ahead and immediately drop probes since there is no one at all in local. And there's no point in looking for towers because they're going to be everywhere. Since there's only 2 signatures, I can do this real quick and I'll show you what I do for the return wormhole so I know which one that is. It's always going to show up on your map because you just came through it. So I scan that one right away and get a 100%, and I know which one is my return on the signatures. There you go. I hate these. Like I said, I'm not the best scanner. I know there's probably 3 different ways I could be doing this that is better, but I just use, whatever this basic configuration of these probes is and work with that. And it's a relic site. So go ahead, copy all that, go to Siggy, mass sig reader. This wormhole is a K162, I believe from unknown, because I came from a C2. That's another thing. C1s through 3 are always going to be just plain unknown. This is another way you can tell what a wormhole is just by its description. Dangerous unknown would be C4, C5, and deadly unknown is always C6. So 0.0a to static. And then that's it. The nullsecs are usually real easy. I like getting them out of the way early on. And I have drifted far from the wormhole, so I'm going to warp to... Oh, there's a dead end system. Where am I?
Warp drive active.
Goon space. And warp back to the wormhole.
Warp drive active.
Oh, right. And in static. Can't remember which one that was. Just renaming this. So it's 0.0a, and then which system it is. Also, it's always a good idea just to descan every time you come back into a system. Don't know if probes have been launched or not. So QFY is our last location. So RFY is the whatever. Static to 0.0A. So now we are warping to QFY. And the reason why you want to make sure everything is labeled here is on Siggy is because let's say someone accidentally deletes all the bookmarks and you don't know where you need to go and you're in a big rush. So you're in home, you just got into static, all the bookmarks are deleted for some reason. You can go onto Siggy and see immediately, okay, HQ0 is our C2. And I know that C2 has a high sec in it, so they can immediately just launch probes and scan only HQO and be out of their way as fast as possible. Alright, so this is our C5 static in our static. I'm going to save it as static to C5A and remove QFY. There you go. This will be a full system bookmark list, and it should look nice and clean, easy to tell exactly where you want to go. Another thing that you might want to do is, in static, it's pretty easy to tell. Home is always going to be right next to it, but if you're down chain in like C4C, the third C4 in a chain, and you don't want to go and look at Siggy, you can always put in parentheses after it R, and you'll know that's your return. And if you keep following the R's, you go back home. It's not really important right in static, but outside of systems, yeah, you can put that in, and it makes it a lot more easy for people. Alright, so we're going to head and dive through this. This is a C5, so things could get a little bit more interesting. I run into stuff a lot more often in C5 space. Descan. There is 4 towers, 4 force fields, Buzzard, Orc, and Typhoon on scan, so probably someone who lives here. C5A, because it's the first C5, back to static. We're going to go ahead and name that in a second, but I first want to do a scan in the system. Outer planet. Let's just go ahead and warp to this custom F100.
Warp drive active.
Oh, this is Wormhole. Yeah, there's a Moros, Chim, Loki. Alright, so Wormhole is a pretty big group. 114 members strong. And they can definitely be a problem. When this happens, you are probably going to get into a fight with them. So if you are not looking for a fight, you want to get away as soon as possible. If you run into someone who you know is going to be bringing a fight to you, you can just roll away the chain. But we don't do that very often in my corp. Pretty much never, actually. If I was actually in my home chain right now, we'd probably be forming up, seeing if we could get a fight out of these guys. I actually don't know what their time zone is, so they might be dead right now. I'm not going to bother that right now. I'm by myself, so I'm going to just go ahead and leave.
Warp drive active.
Okay, and also since the K162 came out into Wormhole's hole, this wormhole only just appeared for them. So, again, look at this. Elite Cruiser Wick. So, Must have been some kind of fight in here recently. I'm gonna get out of here, definitely, yeah. They probably just saw the signature pop up. They might even be putting probe. Yep, look, probes. It just saw the wormhole. I'm gonna get out of here. If they saw me on D-scan, they're gonna know what my tag is too. I'm really glad that this next wormhole is going to be my exit. So, go back to static. This one right here, C5, static to C5A. So right now, this part of the chain is completely scanned out. There's definitely other wormholes in here to another C5, but I'm not going to bother scanning that because I'm going to freak them out for no reason, and if they know who I am, they might try and camp me in. I don't know. So I'm just going to go ahead and back to this C2, even though I really, really want to see what they do. Oh well.
Warp drive active.
I already have the system scanned out, or descanned out, so actually let me just drop probes right now. And I will scan the system and be right back. Alright, I'm finished scanning. I am back again. So, just like before, copy everything here and add it to Siggy. I have a total of 4 wormholes here. One of them, this one, SQZ, is going to be the return. It was a K162 from unknown. And I put just wanted to make sure that I was doing it right. K162 from unknown. It's C2A, back to static. And like I said before, you can do that. So it's nice and easy to tell what a return is, but it's static, so you know it's your return anyway. Oh, that's probably hole. Come on now, show yourself. He's probably seen all the ships on D-scan too and going like, what? Oh, come on. I want to see who you are. I just pulled my probes in too, so he still doesn't know I'm here. Because that wormhole opened up into their home from the last system, they know that someone had to have opened it. Let's go ahead and put that right there. It's our Asgard Intel channel. Should I talk to a local? Should I? No, because then he's gonna think Skyfires are all up in their chain and we're not. Uh, he's gonna have to drop probes though and find me. So I'm going to break the rules here and just find the high sec and get out of here. Perhaps I'll even see if we can bring a fight to them. I doubt it though. My guys just got into a fight with Blue Fire. If you remember that ping I had earlier, we'll see. So save location as TV, MVT. Save this one as PGA, and I'm gonna go ahead and warp to this one.
Warp drive active.
2 of these are statics, 1 to C4, 1 to high sec, and 1 of them is a K162. This one is the C4. Remember how I said you can tell what it is just by looking at it? Wait, this is the K162 though, so it's another C4. But anyway, you see the orange and the green. That is definitely a C4. Let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to save it as C2A to C4. I'm going to do B, because I know there's another one in here, and I want to make sure the static to this hole is A. And then this was VWU. So on here, VW becomes dangerous unknown because it's a C4, C5, C2A to C4B. Just like that. Let me check D-scan real quick. No probes out yet. So he's still trying to find those passes. Like I said, I'm going to break the rules here. This is also a K162, so honestly, I don't even need to go through it right at this moment. The other side is already opened. And also, let's check it real quick. Okay, so it's reaching the end of its natural lifetime. So this one is end of life anyway. So if I was to go through and pop it, it would show up on Siggy, and I now have to mark it as such, so people would know it's closing very soon. It's always under 4 hours whenever that's there, but it could be 30 minutes for all I know. It was 30 minutes for the one I just came in through high sec, so, and that closed behind me. So let's go ahead and edit that one too. Make sure to mark it on here. EOL. Let's go to MVT next.
Warp drive active.
Make sure you mark it on Siggy too. And this one, it's a B247. Let's see what that is again. High sec. This is a high sec static. And it looks like it's a Mars space by all the yellow. So MVT is going to be removed. Let's save it as C2A to high sec. and I will go through that as soon as I find out what this one is. It's going to be the other C4, that's for certain, and I believe because this one is not end of life, that one should be fine too.
Warp drive active.
Aha, probes are out, so this guy's scanning now. Oh, but it's hurting. You hear that sound? It is reaching the end of its lifetime, and it's stage 2. Its mass has been reduced, but not to a critical degree, so it's under 50% of the mass remaining. So I was wrong about that. C2A to C4A. This C4 has a lot of use on it, so there's definitely some going on in here earlier. And then remove this one. So this one is 2C4, C2A to C4A. Now I would go through that one, pop it, do it all over again. This would definitely be the second one I want to go to. I want to go to the high sec first in this situation, just so that I can figure out if we have a good route out of home or something like that. But then I would come back, pop this one. I wouldn't even bother with the end of life one. Honestly though, this one's end of life too. I forgot to mark that. So both of these are really bad ideas to try and go exploring. It's a good thing I don't plan on exploring them. Let's go back, edit that. That's end of life. So there, this is the fully scanned out. See how, this is how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to be all very neat and organized looking. You can immediately tell what things are. S for static, HS for high sec, C4A for the first C4, C4B for the second C4 you found. Since they're both end of life, I marked that there too. And if this was not static, it was another one, I would put R at the end of it so that you can tell it's the return. But I'm going to the high sec. And exit. Let's save this as sec to C2A. Check for SIGs. There's 3 SIGs in here, so there could be another wormhole, but it's high sec. It really doesn't matter if you find another wormhole. You can go wherever you want. And then on Siggy, it'll add another hole. And another nice thing is you can find out how close you are. Like this is only 3 jumps of Mars. So let's say this was home. This was your C5, that's home. It has a C2 static. That'd be a really nice route. Just to C2, C2, high sec. And this would also have C4s for you to explore, which really shouldn't bother though because they're end of life. This has nothing to explore, but if you want to go out to nullsec, do something, you got a route right there. And this is board hole. This would actually end everything anyway, because literally one jump from your home would be board hole, and they can either be trouble or a lot of fun depending on what you want to do. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. If there's anything else I really need to add, I might make another video. I don't know though, because it shouldn't be too hard to make these bookmarks and make everything work for everyone. But here, I'll go over this with you too real quick. You don't really have to add anything here, but I will anyway. C2A to Marthia. So see how everything is marked. You should be able to tell immediately which wormhole you need to, or which signature you need to scan if you, for some reason, lose the bookmark. And every single system should look like that. You can also scan down these, like, relics are actually really nice. You can have some nice things come out of them. So those are one thing you might want to scan down all the way. And the only one I didn't bother is Wormhole, because, you know. Alright then, I'm going to leave it at then. Hopefully you guys can get your shit together and bookmark everything properly and actually put a little bit of time and effort into making everything look nice and siggy, so we don't, you know, get fucked up. And that'll be all. See ya.